This is the Xavier's Voice.
This is the Xavier's Voice.
This is the Xavier's Voice.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Actually, we are recording this episode in the evening.
Yeah, this is the evening.
This is nighttime, you guys.
Yeah.
No matter what time that you will listen to this one, but good
Yeah.
evening.
Good evening. Yeah.
I'll say good afternoon,
Yes.
good morning.
Good and Morgan. In time.
สวัสดีตอนเย็น
Sawadi Tonyan.
Mhm.
In Filipino, magandang gabi.
In Indonesian, selamat pagi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, today different.
Yes.
I'm so excited. This is the very first video episode of Xavier Voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So exciting.
This is
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is exciting. Yeah. I hope you are exciting as well. I
Yeah.
hope you are excited. Yeah. So, today, before we get to the topic of today's episode, maybe I would like you guys to once again introduce yourself to our audience. Yeah, you were in some of our episodes in the
Yes.
previous episodes, right? But today is so different. We have
True.
video podcast,
Mhm.
and the audience are seeing you for the first
Yes,
time. So
indeed.
you please introduce yourself.
Sure.
Mhm.
Vina, you go first.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Vina, and I'm a teaching staff here
Mhm.
in Xavier Campus, Chiang Rai.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been here. Like I was here before, like
Yeah.
last year, and then long story short, I got a job here, so here I am now. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, so I'm Tim Bravo from the Philippines. So I am a volunteer teacher here, teaching English language and the students, and also I will be here for 1 year, but we don't know yet the future. I might stay for a long time. But yeah, so hi.
Yeah. Okay.
And then this is our boss.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Kai. Yeah, Kai, and I'm also working at XLC, helping with some teaching and also this new project, right?
Yes.
Working with the social media of Xavier Learning Community, mainly the YouTube channel. Yeah.
So Xavier Voice 2.0.
Yeah, I would say this is a 2.0.
True.
Yeah.
This is an upgrade from the
Upgrade.
previous one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now you can see us, guys.
Right.
Yeah. With that, because this is like the upgrade version of Xavier Voice Podcast, I think it's good to maybe look back on the the previous episodes of our podcast and then try to see what are the great things that we have done, and also look also at what are not yet great and need to be improved.
Yes.
Mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
the rooms for improvement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's gonna be always room for improvement.
True.
Yeah. But before we get to that, I would like to ask you guys a little bit you listen to podcasts, right?
Yeah,
I do.
definitely.
Do you have any podcast that you feel like this is the best podcast for you? If you have some examples.
Or maybe Tim can start.
Well, it's not like I don't think it's the perfect podcast for everybody, but I'd love to listen more with the self-help podcast. And in the Philippines, we have a lot of channels that tackles different things like culture, education. There's also a comedy podcast, and it's diverse. So I couldn't say particular podcast, but I do listen to different kinds of channels such as Paano Ba To podcast, Adulting with Joy Spring podcast. So there's a bunch of podcasts that I listen to that really helps me one way or another.
Yeah.
What about you, Vina?
I thought I listened to a lot of podcasts, and then when I got the question, I was like, so what podcasts do I listen to? So because I think there's a line, because I listen to those podcasts because I love the content creators, not for the love of the podcast itself. So I listen to Christine. She is a YouTuber. She's a Canadian YouTuber. And I really like her podcast because it's just such a random talk, but it was so structured. It's called Simply Podlogical because all her handles are like simply something logical. And then I listen to Red and Link, Ear Biscuits. And then I listen to the Try Guys. So I think it's like I focus more on the person because I love them. That's why I want to listen to them. And then some, true crimes and everything. And then there's a meme of like we are doing like daily chores and everything, but the ones in like our headset or like in our ears are just like a true crime of like, and then he snapped his ears and then he stabbed her with a knife.
Yeah.
I think I listen to a fair amount of conversations, self-help, or like a true crime stories.
Yeah.
What about you, brother Kai?
Yeah. For me, actually, I don't have like the best podcast. I don't have like favorite podcast that I like. But then I choose to listen to podcast based on the topics that I'm interested in. Like sometimes I'm interested in like English accents, famous English accents. Then I search on the search bar and then try to like get like the best like the podcast that talk about like English accents. Yeah. But then if I have to pick one or two for the Thai podcast, it would be like the Secret Sauce. Yeah, the Secret Sauce. Like
interesting.
They invited successful people to come talk in their podcast, to come to talk on their shows, and then ask like what is like the secret sauce that make them like success, make them successful.
It's in Thai language.
In Thai language.
But that's clever. That's a very clever
It
title.
is. But I like the title.
Yeah.
Secret Sauce.
Yeah, secret sauce.
Sauce.
And also like another one, a KND Community Podcast is a podcast for people who study English, trying to learn how to speak English. Yeah, and then they have great content and like interesting content, but mainly they will use English as the medium to communicate with the listeners. Yeah.
And there's been like a fair amount of like students who use like college students who use podcasts as their thesis and like on how podcasts really help students in learning, enriching their vocabulary, enriching their listening skills, even their speaking skills.
Podcast is really helpful, and I think it's a great platform for us to just be ourselves, you know, and for people to also learn being themselves.
Yeah. And talking about like podcasts, like it's helping listeners, especially like when we want to study or like get new information, not just English. This is actually like the very first intention of Xavier Voice Podcast. So we started off like we want to like learn something.
True.
Like not just us, but also like we want our students like to learn something. So we create this platform so that we can invite our students and also our staff to come and then like express their ideas in English. So the first intention was like to get everyone to speak English, use English to communicate.
And then look how far we've come.
Right.
We're recording
True.
not only voice, but we have video.
Like this is another
upgrade.
like new step.
That's true.
So with that, now I would like to maybe ask you guys to do some like reflection on the previous episodes of our podcast. So I think we now have like 6 episodes on our YouTube channel, right? So if you look back on all 6 episodes, what are the great things that you have gained, that you think we have done for our podcast?
So we'll start with the great things, and after we'll do the
after that
The
will
evaluation.
be like evaluation.
There's room for improvement.
True.
Yes.
Well, for the great things, maybe I could start, or you want to start?
Yeah, you can start.
So I think what's great about the podcast that we started was the content itself. Like, it's really amazing that we started something new in this community. Because, while I was new here in the community at that time, I also felt that there's a need for new things to happen in this community, and we made a podcast, and the contents are all in English. We invite guests, and so I think that's one, the content.
Yeah.
The initiation itself of like we want to make students speak English and everything, and I think we started small with like topics that really close to everyday life and everything. I remember I was in one episode and we were talking about superstitions. What's great about that episode is that it just flows, because superstition is something that we discuss on like a funny way now. Now that we are grown-ups and everything, it's like, oh, there's a logical explanation to that.
Right.
But what's behind the superstitions when we grow up, when we were a kid, and then we were told by our parents not to do that, not to do this. And then now as adults, we kind of find out that, oh, that's why. So it was a fun. And then I was in one not yet published or unpublished one. When we were talking about, expressions that you use in a hair salon or something. So small topics like that, I think it's kind of close to our life.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Brother Kai?
Yeah, actually, I also like the same things like you guys said. But then, for me, I like the energy from our students and also from our staff. Like when I invited them, when I like asked them, like, please come to like our program, our podcast, then they really prepared for the podcast.
True.
You know? Like I remember like Kana and Beer, I asked them like to come for Kana. I think I asked her to prepare for like uneasy questions, like how to deal with like inappropriate questions, and she really prepared like great answers for the questions. How she really deal with like awkward situations and all the inappropriate questions asked by friends and family. And I could see like her logic, her like ideas and her thinking, like way of thinking, and I really like that.
Right.
And also with Beer, we talked about like the education in Thailand, like education system in Thailand, and how we study English. And also compare with you, Tim. You also shared about like how you study English in the Philippines, right? So I got to hear experiences, opinions, ideas. So I really like that people were like very open to our podcast.
Yes. Yeah. And you can see it in the way they talk about things. You can see the energy. They're really interested in talking about it.
Yeah.
That's also a very good thing.
I remember that one episode of Mon talking about accents. And that was such a good episode. I was there.
Yeah. I like that, one more thing. I like that even though English is not like, they are not very fluent in English, but they tried their best, try their best to like express their ideas, and I think everyone understands.
True.
Yeah.
And also, I guess what's great about it is that we invited diverse kind of people, like from different countries, Indonesia, Philippines, America, Australia, and it's just so great that this kind of platform invites different types of people, different kinds of people from different countries. So it's just amazing. Yeah.
And I think we kind of achieved our main goals, like get people to talk in English, like practice English mainly. Yeah. So, okay, now I think we have talked. I think we have like a lot of great things.
Yes.
Now we want to improve our podcast, right?
Let's open the room for improvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
For discussion.
This is a discussion material.
Yes. So what do you think we have to like, we need to improve?
Vina?
now that we have a room,
Yeah.
we definitely can invite more people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we can definitely, you guys can see us now.
Yes.
So there's no longer like when you're recording, when we used to record and
Yeah.
we nod or like we
Yeah.
smile, but you cannot see it. And now
Yeah.
we can. Now you can see us
Yeah.
smiling and everything.
Mhm.
And I remember that episode of Superstitions that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It was a last minute decision.
Mm.
And then we recorded that episode somewhere in Excelsior.
Mhm.
And then it was echoey.
Yeah. It was.
So
Yeah.
I think there will be no longer things like that of like a last minute decision and then we need to record somewhere else.
Mhm.
Because in the afternoon it was kind of a challenge because we have a construction going on right now. And I remember that one episode with Mon that like there's a motorcycle
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're building this room steps by steps, baby steps. So yeah.
Mm,
True.
Yeah. And also now we have like a better equipment,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
You should bring the first ever microphone that we use
Yeah,
sometime.
yeah. Maybe in the next episodes we will show them like how we like
That's
the
how we
journey,
started.
Yes.
like the journey of our podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of equipment, that's also the thing that we really needed to improve back then, because like you just have like a laptop and like a microphone with a towel in it.
Yeah.
Like it was so fun to look at, but also very like a very beginner starter pack of doing a podcast. So at least now we have it already. We have few good things in front of us, and yeah.
But I think back then the most important thing is the desire to like
True.
create
Yeah,
content
yeah.
and then like try to be in the trend.
Yeah.
And while following the trend, also like encourage students to speak in English.
True.
Mm.
Yeah. And maybe I could also mention about the technicalities of the podcast. Maybe there will be a need for improvement in terms of editing the podcast itself. So it's also a room for everyone to share their skills and knowledge when it comes to editing things like this. And also maybe the graphics. We could also change the sound effects, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, but now we have like a director, right? A director. Our director is like
Right.
behind the camera.
Behind the
Behind the camera.
Maybe in the next episodes he could appear.
We
in
could
the,
feature him,
Yeah,
definitely.
feature
Maybe
him
the host,
in the,
though.
As a
yeah,
host.
as a guest.
Yeah,
first,
as a
maybe,
guest
and
first.
then later he can become like
True.
one of the hosts. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we get an approval for that? Do we get an approval?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We got an
Alright,
approval,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
What else though? What else?
I think
Room for improvements.
Yeah, I think when I look back, could see that it was like very scripted, very scripted, and then like in the previous episodes, I made script for the guest, and they really try to answer. The questions I gave them, but then sometimes I feel like it was too like they stuck to the script too much,
Yeah.
and then it just felt like they were reading the answers, not really speaking.
Yeah.
So I think in the future episodes, I want the vibe of the podcast to be more chill and
True.
relaxed. Yeah. So maybe I could like improve with the script writing. Maybe just give the points, not like the full like sentences,
Yeah.
like questions, fixed questions like that. But give them like just let them know like what kind of topics we are going to talk about.
Room for creativity.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, room for creativity, and then like make them like speak their mind.
True.
Express their
Yeah.
ideas
And
more
now that's
freely.
because we are going to be seen on
We're
like on
going
a
to be
screen.
seen.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's not good to always look at the script,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. It's different when like there's no camera in.
Yeah.
Right? So. Yeah, it's so for next time we should make like a guide, not a
Yeah,
script, like just word per word, not like that. Yeah, true.
Yeah, yeah. But then we still keep some of the elements. So actually, I'm very excited now because in the future I just learned that there will be more people from different countries.
Exciting.
Like diverse people, people from diverse backgrounds will be coming to XLC, and I think this is like the strength of our podcast, of our community, that we have people from like so many backgrounds.
True.
Yeah, so I think we should keep this element.
Right.
Yeah, that reminds me of we always say people come and go. So we took that opportunity to like people coming, and then we feature them in this podcast. So the memory lasts forever.
True.
It's there out there on the internet forever
right.
for everyone to see.
Yeah. Taking advantage of the time, especially when they're here. Yeah. And it's also a great strength in not just in Xavier Voice, but also in XLC, that you can just come as you are. You can just be as authentic as you are and just be who you are in front of everybody without judgments. Right?
Yeah. So I actually have like high hope for this program, you know.
Yeah. Same. So we have this kind of awkward silence that we're
but it always happened and it was fun.
True.
It was just like,
this is I have a fear for podcasts. Like we cannot really have like a dead air. Yeah. We have to like keep talking.
Yeah, but we're humans, and that's in human nature.
True. And also that's the power of editing, guys. So if we have a dead air, like we don't need to worry about it, because it will be just remove it. But of course it will be very obvious. But then again, we're humans, so it's fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think now I would like to maybe wrap up this episode.
Sure.
Because this is like the pilot episode for
the video,
the new season. The new season of our podcast
2.0.
Yeah, the video podcast. So like I would like to ask like the last question here, like what kind of hopes you have for this podcast?
Oh,
we have a lot of hope.
We have a lot of hopes. We definitely see something in this project, a vision for sure. We're going to feature more students. You're going to see a lot more of us. You're going to see a lot more ideas, perspectives, and everything. So we got to bring so many topics for you guys. Topics that are just like maybe just appear on a day-to-day basis of like, I don't know, I cannot mention one by now, but like things that maybe not a lot of people talks about it, but it's such a, like when you talk about it in your circle or everything, it was such a fun discussion.
True. My hope would be, I hope it will reach more audience, like especially in social media. We could advance our reach through Facebook or Instagram, so that people, not just here in XLC, but like outside XLC, could also hear what we are talking about, or could also listen on what XLC people are or can offer. And also maybe consistency. I also hope for consistency for this podcast, so that it will be continued, and if it will be consistent, then people will more likely to participate in it.
Oh, that reminds me, because we're in this era of like 2020. Oh my gosh, 2024 is just like less than a month.
Oh my god.
We're coming to the new age of like, I feel like there's like a blank of like 2 years because of COVID. But we're living in such an era where like everything is content.
Everything is content.
So I can see where this podcast can fill that void. We can like try to be in the stream, but not to be mainstream.
Right.
Yeah, but I can definitely see a vision for this project in the future.
Yeah.
What about you, Brother Kai?
What about you?
Actually, I have the same hopes with you, Guy. You know, what you said was like so true. We need that. And also for me, my hope is that I want like this passion and also like this energy, enthusiasm to continue, to like, I need like all of these things to be with us, and also, with our students also. I hope that later when they see more from this podcast, it will inspire them. It will ignite the passion in them too.
Yeah.
So I hope also we could make more fun content, more chill content. Yeah, not just the serious ones, right?
I
So
think
like
this is
more
what
entertainment.
We should call it like a balance, We all doing our job in the day and in the evening.
We could
we are in the podcast
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was such a fun.
I want it to be like just a chill conversation,
Right.
like
Yeah.
normal conversation.
But like, let's be honest, the day leading up to the day is just like so exciting for me when we were setting up the lights, we were
Right.
setting up the microphone and everything.
The behind the scenes is also
The
very
behind the
exciting.
scenes is
Yeah.
really fun.
Very
and
exciting.
especially a few hours before this,
Yeah.
we planned to record this episode like 2 hours earlier,
Right.
but like things happen and everything. But I think that's part of the process.
Part of the
Yeah,
process. There's going to be a lot of things to look forward to, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I'm grateful for the energy that we have, the passion
True.
and the enthusiasm
Yeah.
that we have, even though like we planned like 2 hours earlier.
2 hours
Right,
but then
earlier.
Yeah.
even though it didn't go as planned, but
Yeah.
then we
Go
can
as
still make
planned.
it.
We can still
Yeah.
make it.
We still
We're
made
here.
it,
Yeah, we're about to end.
It's because of the love that we have, the
Right.
passion that we share,
True.
Yeah.
that this
Okay.
episode is happening.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for the following episodes.
Oh,
there
me
will be
too.
a lot of people coming in.
What do we
Yeah.
have?
Now we have-
We'll just
I-
keep it a secret.
I
for
don't
now.
want to spoil, but
Yes.
then yeah.
Let's surprise the
Yeah.
audience.
Okay. So today,
Yay.
thank you so much, team. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Gina.
The
And thank
pleasure
you
is
so
all
much,
mine.
our director.
Behind the camera.
Behind the camera. Maybe in the following episodes, you will see who we are talking to.
Yeah. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
We got his approval
Yeah.
Yeah.
to appear.
Mhm. Yeah. So I hope to see you guys in the
Yeah.
next episode, and I hope that you will be like you are excited to see what we
Gonna
plan
bring
for
to the
you.
table.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. For
We're not going to use the tagline.
Yeah.
not for now, because this is like the pilot episode.
Yeah.
You will see in the future episodes, we will keep the same tagline, or we will change to a new one.
Yeah,
Oh.
true. Well, yeah. Last question though. Why is it Xavier Voice? I think the audience deserves to know.
They're wondering
Yeah.
why is it Xavier?
Yeah. So, if you still remember, we were discussing about this, like
Yeah.
the name of our channel and the name of our podcast,
Yeah.
our program, and then we were discussing. Everyone came up with like different names, right? But then at the end, we took the name like Xavier Voice
Mhm.
because first we took Xavier because the name of this community
Yeah.
is Xavier Learning Community, and also
Mm.
like Saint Francis Xavier is like the patron saint of this institute. So
Yeah.
I think it's good to
Yeah.
have this in the name of our program.
Right.
And then and I also add the word voice because I think it represents our voice. No, you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not the sound. It's not only the sound, but it's also like through this podcast, through this program, you will hear, and then you will also experience the
Right.
voices, the opinions, all like the ideas, the thinking of the people from XLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Xavier Voice, like the
Wow.
voices of
Wow.
everyone in Xavier
Xavier.
Learning Community.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like when you said it's the voice, not the sound.
Mm,
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's really a deep meaning behind this
Yeah.
podcast, you guys.
So I hope that you are interested to hear more voices from this program.
Right.
Indeed.
Watch out, you guys.
Watch out. So see you in the next episode.
See
today.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
This is the Savior's Voice.
This is the Savior's Voice.
This is the Xavier's Voice.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe at Savior Voice. This is brought to you by Xavier Learning Community.